Pastor John Gray, he leads the Relentless Church down in South Carolina. It's an evangelical megachurch with some 22,000 members, many of whom weren't so happy when they learned of his very generous gift to his wife.
This morning, outrage at the pulpit.
Get that in your spirit.
John Gray, a megachurch pastor in Greenville, South Carolina, speaking out after facing fierce criticism for buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini.
First of all, it wasn't a pastor that bought the car. It was a husband that bought the car. And I won't ask permission from anybody to do it.
Video surfaced this week of the pastor presenting the car to his wife in celebration of their 8-year wedding anniversary. But the image was soon taken down after response to the pastor went viral. People will forego rent, bills, food, etc. to keep lining these grifters' pockets. People are stupid to give their money to these megachurch pastors who turn around and buy mansions, planes, and fancy cars. But Gray's wife rushed to his defense, writing on Instagram, "I don't see anyone screaming about how basketball players drive what they do while you paying money to see them play." Plus, Gray says it was a private gift paid for with private funds. So what's the big deal?
What should concern people is, did this man use any money from the church to do this? And the answer is no.
Gray says the money comes from his book deals and from his reality TV show, The Book of John Gray, on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Gray is a former associate pastor at Joel Osteen's mega church in Houston. Osteen, who lives in a $10 million mansion, famous for preaching the gospel of prosperity. Gray echoing that message, saying he deserves everything he's got.
And my best life is seeing my wife happy.
What's wrong with Pastor John Gray buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini truck? Okay, so initially that makes people go, oh my God, you know, a $200,000 Lamborghini truck. I've never seen one up close. So hey, Holland, and I'll get to all you guys' comments, I swear, right after I read this. Okay, and so, who is Pastor John Gray? He is the head pastor of Relentless Church that is located in South Carolina and is the associated pastor. So I don't know if he still is or was, but anyway, he's the associated pastor of Lakewood Church that is under the leadership of Joel Osteen out of Houston, Texas. Pastor John Gray has also got national attention from being associated with Oprah Winfrey. He got his own show on the OWN network. And I also say this too before I get started. There is a link on here for those of you guys who are not friends with me and for whatever reason you can't comment. If you click on the link, you will be able to comment on the show and I will read your comments. And so I'll get back to what I was saying. Okay, and so Pastor John has gotten national attention from being associated with Oprah Winfrey. He has his own show on the OWN network called The Book of John Gray. That is a docudrama about his life and about him helping people through, I guess, his knowledge and wisdom and biblically, right? He also has written 2 books. His belief is that everyone was made on purpose and made for a purpose. He has a net worth of $7 million and is married to Adventure Gray, who serves beside him in ministry. They met as she was on the dance ministry and he was serving as associate pastor at Lakewood Church. And they've been married for 8 years and have 2 children together. Now, fast forward to the $200,000 Lamborghini truck. Pastor John has taken some heat because he took to social media to show everyone that he bought his wife the truck as an 8th wedding anniversary gift during a big celebration ceremony that they had, right? So in the now deleted video, he was handing keys to the Lamborghini truck to his wife, okay? So again, he deleted the video due to a lot of the backlash that he received from doing so. And so in that video, he said, quote, "You light my fire, let this Lamborghini light your fire, baby." Okay, end quote. Now, people are accusing him of using church funds to make the extravagant purchase. People have also been calling him a false prophet, a pulpit pimp, just to name a few things. Now, Gray then responded with the following. And this is a quote. First of all, It wasn't a pastor that bought the car. It was a husband that bought the car. Get that in your spirit, Grace said in the 23-minute video that I happened to watch this morning because I was like, I want to get the information for myself. Okay. So he said, get that in your spirit. I'm a husband first. Don't confuse what I do with who I am, which is like weird, but that's what he said. I'll repeat that. Don't confuse. Let me make sure I got it right. Don't confuse what I do with who I am. What I do is pastors God's people. Who I am is a husband and a father, and I'll do anything to honor them. And I won't ask permission from anybody to do it. Okay. He also said that no money from the church paid for the truck, that the proceeds from his, why are you looking at, y'all should see Donovan's face, but that the proceeds from his books and television appearances and all that is what paid for the truck. And in the
So
video,
he wouldn't mind auditing. He wouldn't mind auditing.
well, I mean, I guess he wouldn't mind an auditing, but he said on his video, now I don't know how much weight this holds, but during the video he says, as God should strike me dead if I'm lying about that. So,
like that means anything to
I'm
anybody.
just telling you what the man said. He says, God will strike me dead if I'm lying.
So like President Trump, we want to see your taxes. You're going to show us your taxes.
Or Bill Clinton, I did
Right.
get held and I did not have sexual intercourse.
Right. So
Okay.
he shouldn't have a problem with that. So.
Right. Okay, so that's what he said. No money from the church paid for his wife's $200,000 Lamborghini. Okay. So then his wife, Adventure, stated via social media the following, okay? And this is a quote from her. My hubby is a hard worker. He worked his whole life and he saved to bless his wife. And then she hashtagged him. Author 2 times, so he has 2 books. Silent endorsements, because everyone doesn't have to brag about who they are signed to. 6 TV shows, movie producer, songwriter,
Isn't she bragging right
and
there?
tours. Well, I'm just telling you
Isn't
what
she
she's
bragging
saying.
right
I'm
there?
telling you what she's saying. And tours. She also said, gives away cars, full houses full of furniture, coats off his back, checks before pastoring and tithes, that is its entirety, this is her words, between 2 churches and those he feels led to at any given moment. Been working for years. Get out of here. She also says, and that's the closing the quote, I don't see anyone screaming about how basketball players drive what they drive while you paying money, $ she put, to see them in all arenas and on fields. We don't live for people. We live for God. Back to my regularly scheduled grocery store trip. Happy Sunday, she ended. All right, now should also be noted that folks are saying that he allowed the congregation to come up and take money directly out of the offering basket 2 weeks before he posted the video of him buying his wife the Lamborghini truck. Okay, so others have brought up the fact that, and this is what I've seen on social media stuff, others have brought up the fact that Jesus never acted in such a manner regarding money and material things. And what else do I have here? But many people have also wondered why he would buy and flaunt such a lavish gift while there are people that are struggling in his very own congregation.
He couldn't get a Sentra, a Corolla.
Well, I mean, but I'm going to ask that question. So save that question, though.
Gotcha.
So without giving too much commentary, because I tell you guys, I can go on forever about this, I want to ask you guys, what's wrong with Pastor Gray buying his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini truck, if indeed, because, I mean, we don't know anything to be different, if indeed he did pay for it out of his own pocket. All right, so I will get to you guys' comments because I see you guys have some things to say already.
First of all, I'm going to say this. If the IRS gets to him, he better show that he has a salary that justifies that going into it.
Well, I mean, he's on his 4th season of the Book of John Gray on OWN.
But they ain't paying that.
I mean, we don't.
Okay, we don't know. Well,
They're saying that he's worth $7 million. Listen, I don't know John Gray. I'm only knowing what I researched and what I found, and it says the dude is worth $700 million. I mean, 700. Wow. $7 million, and he has, book deals. Sounds like New York Times seller.
He's doing what Joel Osteen does by going through the church to get a tax-exempt status and selling his books that don't get tax-exempt, and kind of using it as a safe haven.
Okay. Well,
So he's doing the same.
He
It's the
might
same
be.
playbook. It's the same playbook.
I'm going to get to y'all comments. So, Holly said there is nothing wrong with John Gray buying his wife a $200,000 vehicle.
If you
And
serve
so
the,
Samuel says, hello, sister and brother.
all right. You know, okay, and I'm not saying her opinion is not valid, but there's a parable, or a matter of fact, there's a quote in the Bible of the rich man that came up to Jesus, and the rich man said, Lord, I love your ministry, I love everything about you. You know, what can I do to serve you? What's the first thing Jesus told them? Sell all your shit and follow me. The rich
But there's
man,
also the part in the Bible that says that the pastors should be blessed. The congregation.
Wait, no. I'm going to have to disagree, because
It does not say that in the Bible?
it does say in the Bible,
Oh, okay.
but here's the thing.
Argument time.
Sheep do not take care of shepherds. Shepherds take care of sheep.
But in the Bible, it does say that the sheep are supposed to take care of the pastor too.
Okay, good. I'm a
Right.
Catholic. All the priests in the Catholic Church are taken care of by the diocese, the people of the church.
Right.
You don't see them running around in $200,000 cars and all that other stuff.
No, the Pope just has a bulletproof car that people rides around.
Well, that's different because the Pope tried to be assassinated. But anyway, but what I'm saying is, at the local level, like this guy is, you know, in the Catholic Church, their worldly needs are being taken care of by the thing, and that's what I think was meant in that thing about they will be taken care of, not enrich themselves.
Okay, all right, well, we're going to get to that. And so, again, if you guys want to comment on this, and you're not friends with me for whatever reason, click the link and you'll be able to comment. All right, so Tay, you says, was it P what? And Al says, why do so many brag about things when we buy and the cost of it?
That's
Who
what's
really
outrageous
cares?
about it. That's what's outrageous. You know, if you're going to bless your wife, be quiet about it.
Okay. And then Belinda says, if it's legitimately his money used to purchase the vehicle, then so be it. But if he's using church funds, then I say no.
Mm-hmm.
Holland says, I'm with you, Al, on the fact that why brag about it. Let's see. And then Tay says, but isn't being a pastor, a.k.a. man of God, who he is and what he is? Well, I thought they
That's
were
what I
the two,
thought.
but I guess, maybe he got tongue-tied. I don't know. Listen, I don't go to church, you guys. But I do know a lot about the Bible for a whole host of reasons, and I've shared this with you guys
Well, you're
before.
an educated person, so yeah.
Well, I'm just an educator. I like to learn new things, but I'm not trying to defend him. I'm just, asking you guys, because I've seen a lot of pushback about him having a truck for his wife, okay? And then so, Belinda, you also say basketball players aren't spending money to given to them for the health and wealth of the church. True.
Right.
Christopher
2 different career
Jones,
fields.
what's happening? Says Belinda. Stephen hit the nail on the head. Additionally, how did he come by his wealth? No man should become wealthy off the backs of their congregation, i.e., people should make no more than a living wage or for leading a church. I don't care who they are, what church it is, or how big the church is. Okay.
What kind of message are you sending? Greed.
And Billy says, some crooked-ass pastors just like all the rest. And Al says, I know of a lot of brothers who brag about how many women they slept with and how big their regions are. Again, black man, who really cares on what you have and pay for? Let your silence be the price tag. Okay, now, and Tay says, obviously, I picked the wrong career. I should have been a pastor. I said
Be a chaplain. Be a chaplain.
I
Work
said
it
the same
out.
thing earlier. And Pam, he says, I don't know his. I think he said. I think he said, I don't know his personal financial well-being. If he can afford it, then do so. I hope that he is also helping the community and congregation. Okay, so that was all the comments. So he says that he is helping the congregation. His wife went on a rant because she's mad about people being mad about him buying his wife a truck, and so she's saying that he does do all those things. It's also said that 2 weeks before that, he allowed the congregation to come up and take money from
because he knew what he was going to do. That's what that is.
But I would just say this too, because I know, and listen, I'm kind of skeptical about certain things too, but I know that it is easy for us to demonize people, and I'm not, listen, like I said, I don't really know a whole lot about John Gray, but I would just like to say it's easy for us to demonize people because we know that it's for a fact that pastors, especially in our community, have a bad reputation and a well-deserved reputation because they, in my words, trick off the money for themselves while they do have a congregation, as Chris said, they are struggling.
You have one right down the street.
Well, it ain't my pastor.
Well, but there's a church. You know of a church right down the
But
street.
so you're buying your wife a $200,000 car, and you're flaunting it, at this big whirlwind celebration they had. I know Tyrese, the singer, was there, and a few other people were there.
And you got to pay Tyrese.
So there's a few people at this. So it was huge, to say the least. And then you get on social media and make this big old deal about you giving your wife a truck.
And then you don't want people to criticize or say anything.
Well, also out of that same Bible, it asks you and us, especially if you're a man that's teaching the Bible, to use wisdom.
Right.
And wisdom would say to you that, okay, I'm bragging, and especially in the climate that we're in, where people are complaining about pastors spending so much money. I mean, it was a crapload dollar who asked the congregation to but buy him a $65 million jet that he ended up getting, and he already had a jet. So he asked the congregation to buy him this jet, $65 million, and so it's like, why do you need all of these things? I mean, I get it, yeah, you want to travel, this, that, and the other, but if you got people who are struggling in your congregation, and a lot of those people, because I hate to say this, they're a little bit on the dead side, that they will give their all in the name of sowing a seed. They're all, including the rent, their light bill money, and the money that's essential for them to survive.
They're desperate, right?
Well, they're not desperate. They just believe.
Right, that's what I'm saying. They're desperate for a miracle or something to get them out of this situation.
Because that's what they're taught. Even if it's your rent, sow a seed of faith, brother and sister, and that money will come back to you. But it's like, okay, I'm sowing you a seed of faith while you're hopping on a $65 million jet, or your wife is going to peel off. Even if it's the money you use to pay for it of your own, she's going to peel off in a $200,000 truck while sister so-and-so about to get on the bus with 5 of her kids.
Right. And then the brunt of the work in the church is done by those very people. I mean, when a pastor gets that high, you can't even approach him.
Well, yeah, you got to go to hit the armor bearer, and that armor bearer has an armor bearer.
Right. My grandmother's in the hospital. She needs prayer. The pastor of the church that she's been going to for 70 years can't even come in.
The old school pastors could.
Right.
They come see sister so-and-so, come to the sick and shut-in list, but now it's like, well, we're going to let the associate pastor of the associate pastor, who knows the associate pastor.
Of the ministry, the youth ministry.
Come talk to you.
Right.
And so, let's see, get to these other comments.
Belinda says, it's just outrageous.
Yeah, he said he opened himself up to criticism. Right. She needs to be mad at him. And I agree with you on that.
Keep yourself on the down low.
Well, not that down low.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Keep it on the down low.
But everybody don't need to know that you're doing all that for your wife in such a braggadocious manner. And I'm going to get you guys comments, but, I thought about some scriptures, and one of them is James 4:16. So, like I said, I don't go to church, but I know that if you are preaching the word, at least some of this you should know. So in James 4:16, it says, as it is, you boast in your arrogance. All such boasting is evil. And so to me, I think for him to boast about him buying his wife, like, why do we know it costs $200,000?
Right, we should know that.
So I don't know if somebody went and researched it, but you're bragging. That's a hell of a car. I ain't mad at him, but that's a hell of a car, but you're bragging about that.
Or how about this question? I've been tithing to the church for 30 years faithfully. Got the receipts and everything. Now I've gone through hard times. Is the church going to get me a Corolla? Are they going to get me a car? Can I go to the church?
Most churches now, they used to have a benevolence fund back in the day. I think a lot of churches don't have that for whatever. They don't have the money.
Oh, but we're going to get. You see them?
Right. Yeah. And then so Ali says, greedy black preachers are pernicious. There you go, your big words.
Big words,
it makes
big words.
People not believe in them. And then Belinda says, I'm totally turned off the church and religion because of all the stuff I witnessed and hear. Same here for you. Got a lot of you guys who have probably seen the series on OWN called Greenleaf.
Yes.
I watched that series. I'm waiting for the
awesome.
Yes,
wow.
I'm waiting for the 3rd season to come on Hulu because I don't have regular TV. Because I said I don't care what nobody says. That story of Greenleaf is real. It's a lot of people's story of what happens, and it has happened in the church, especially our church. And so I agree. A church and the dynamics of it have turned a lot of people off. And then, hey, Marjorie rather, it said, what is done with the money does not negate the blessing of the giver.
No, it doesn't. However, if the money's outright stolen and embezzled, it kind of does because the money didn't go where it was intended to go.
Well, so I agree with what she's saying. Yeah. So if I give the money in good faith, then I did my part. However, I mean, because like I said, I've studied, the Bible not
You
as
should
much
have oversight over
Well,
your church's funds.
it's
That's why the pastor should not be involved in the church funds.
well, he's not supposed to be, but we
Right.
know that's
Yeah, not in our
that's right.
community. Not in our community.
Well, in a lot of communities, a lot of people pastors just oversee the checkbook. But I find a lot of contradiction in the Bible, and maybe just me and my ignorance. But if the Bible is asking you to use wisdom, wouldn't that wisdom be to say, okay, Pastor so-and-so is asking me to sow a seed of faith. My rent is due in 5 days, and part of that seed of faith is my rent money. Now, I'm not saying to be negative. I mean, miracles can happen, but at the same time, do I really want to be stressed out?
Okay, or
Do I
how,
want to put myself in a
Right.
tight spot of not being able to pay my rent because I sold a seed of faith?
okay, how about this? You've sown the seed of faith 4 times. And every time you sowed the seed of faith, nothing happened, and you lost your lights, you lost this or whatever.
Because you didn't believe.
Right, but the pastor is taking money. Like I said, he could have got his wife a Corolla, or he could have just been quiet about it.
I mean, again, I don't have a problem with him getting his wife a Lamborghini, but the
I
problem,
do.
well, the problem comes in is when, especially because, like I said, you guys know I'm in public relations PR, and so you have to be proactive, and somewhere somebody, and this is why I know that somebody probably like Pastor John Gray is off the chain, because I watch some of his stuff, and that you probably can't say a whole lot to him. Because somebody in his circle should have said, now, Pastor, that sure is a beautiful truck. But if I were you, I wouldn't post this video.
Exactly. Wait, and he met his wife where?
They worked at the Lakewood Church.
Oh, in the minister. So he's preying on the chicks in the congregation. Nice.
I don't know what the deal was.
Nice.
What they met. But they
Predator
met.
in the congregation, a wolf in the congregation.
But wisdom, somebody, whether it was wisdom or whether somebody in your inner circle should have said, you know what, it's a nice truck. Pastor, but you might not want to post you giving your wife this truck on social media because, for one, the black church is taking a hit everywhere. And not only that, Pastor John Gray is the one that Watusi'd his ass to the White House to talk to Trump, telling everybody, Trump is, give him a chance and all this other stuff. So it's like, somebody should say, you are already batting 1,000 within the black community. You might not want to post this video of you giving your wife this truck because they're going to scrutinize you.
Or how about this? Yeah, hey, Joe. Yeah, how did you get over that last situation? What should I do in this situation?
Right.
Go to your mentor and say, hey, how can I fool how can I bamboozle these fools?
He could have just been quiet and just let the word get out.
Thank you.
If that was the way it was. And so Al says, black preachers' actions are gratuitous and its church members are blind, stupid, and diminutive. Well, maybe just a little bit stupid because, and I don't want to mean to be disrespectful, but at some point in time, you got to just start putting two together. Like, Donovan gave the analogy, if I have sold a seed of faith 4 times and I haven't reaped anything yet, but every month I continuously go down. My rent is past due. I'm waiting for that seed of faith. Now you're stressed out. And I don't think it's God's will to have you stressed out and worried about, I gave the church a seed of faith. Because, I have sat in churches where I've heard people, the pulpit ask people to do those things. Don't worry about how the rent is going to get paid. Leave it to God.
I have 3 animals. Not once in the years that I've owned those animals have those animals taken care of me. I take care of the animals. Sheep do not take care of the shepherd. The shepherd takes care of the sheep.
Well,
I'm sorry. That's just how it works.
I get what you're saying, but I'm just saying if we're speaking biblically, it does say that, and I can't remember the scripture, but it does say that we are supposed to bless,
like the Catholic Church. They're not supposed to enrich themselves. Yeah, you can talk all you want about the Pope. But there is no...
But what if he is truly enriching himself?
The Pope?
No, I'm talking about people like John Gray, and we're talking about John Gray, but what if he is truly enriching himself off of the things that he, off of his books and his movies?
Okay, here's the thing.
All right, I see y'all commenting.
And you guys have to research Joel Osteen. The reason why these pastors are getting away with what they're doing is they are doing it, I'm not saying illegally, they're using a loophole in the
tax shelter.
It's a tax shelter,
yeah, separation of church and state.
Right. They're using that as a tax shelter thing. If they didn't have that, they wouldn't be doing what they're doing and they wouldn't be where they're at.
That's the easiest way to shelter all that money.
They're not paying what they're supposed to pay.
Well, because there's no federal regulation that they
Exactly.
need to.
Exactly. They're
Right.
using a loophole. So
Yes.
he wouldn't be making that kind of money.
And so, Belinda, you said I agree, and I saw that earlier about a previous comment, and you said that's some BS. And Marcus says, how about we just be honest and truly say that the pastor who actually visited the White House and came away with nothing but more than a visit to the White House is simply a joke, period. And people supporting him are loyal fools. Yeah, I mean, at some point in time, it's like, I also think about, and Marjorie, I'm going to get to your comment, I think about Pastor Eddie Long when he was accused of raping the boys. His church, it weaned off a tiny bit at first, but then it was bursting at the seams. We even saw a video of some other pastors coming into the church, lifting him up as a king, and gifting him like real legitimate dead scrolls or scrolls from the Dead Sea, and saying that you are royalty.
Yeah,
and
not true.
I'm saying this
Yeah.
is what they did. They
Yeah.
lifted him up, basically saying, never mind the haters, you are royalty, and then a couple years later he died.
But isn't that sad when the pastor has to be aggressive with average people that he is supposed to either convert or, and try to be civil with?
Because people won't read. They won't read the Bible for themselves. And so Marjorie says, it's not just black preachers, it's most preachers and evangelists. I will concede that point.
I agree with you.
People need to use their own wisdom and why and where they give and why they support the churches they give to. Stop blaming. Stop blaming. I lost a comment. Stop blaming pastors and elders. These pastors are competing with each other and seeking the very glory and vanities they preach against. But memberships are going down every year, so they know their time is ticking. And I absolutely agree with that. It is not just black pastors. I would say this, though. This is probably where it's a little bit different and why people focus on black churches more. Because, like, white people overall are okay. You know what I mean? Black people, our community is suffering the most. It is said since the 1980s that the black church has collected, it's probably a lot more now, over $400 billion in tithes and offerings. I'm sure it's quite a bit more now, but since the 1980s, and so you have all this money. What happened to all this money? Is it enriching the neighborhoods? Like, what did this money do? Did it solely go toward taking care of the church? And the pastors, I mean, where is the account from Chicago? My father is also a Muslim. I have been to Louis Farrakhan's house, and as a child, when my father was doing post, trust me, I know all about that being on post. My dad too. His house was fun, all the games, etc. But I don't remember fancy cars, and so that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he doesn't, but I don't remember people that being a thing with Farrakhan having all this luxury. Anytime I ever hear him travel, I'm sure he travels for fun. I always hear about him traveling to do work, like with other nations and stuff. Now it says, in the church I grew up in, after collection was taken, they would count the money in front of the church out loud.
Southern church.
Name off the people who didn't tithe and would ask for more money just to round the money to and even to get even. You say, get the F out of here.
Damn.
I'm going to just go ahead and say, I've seen that too, you guys. I've seen where churches would divvy up the money at the altar and say, okay, we needed to collect X, Y, and Z. No, absolutely, that is, but come on. Well, too, and I can see at this point too, because a lot of the nonprofit organizations like your Susan G. Komens, that kind of stuff, they break over a lot of money, and people rarely make a big deal about theirs. I think that CEO making like $600,000 a year.
Yeah.
How are the
Planned
CEO?
Parenthood.
Yeah, but how are they making this kind of money? And you're supposed to be helping people cure cancer. I thought it was like in the name of, I want to help you cure cancer. How is that your CEO is getting $600,000 a year?
Well, a lot of people are getting hip to the fact that when you open these 503Cs, they're living off the 503Cs.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Duh.
So they're opening them just to live off of them.
Right, and then, hey, Richie says in universities as well. And so Jessica says, that's not just churches, that's my point. That's any, absolutely. And says, don't get me wrong, I agree. I think whoever is John Gray's PR person should have known better. Yeah, like, sounds like he's in between two churches. Lakewood, which is a huge church, Pastor Joel Osteen, he's assistant or associate pastor. I don't know if he's like the next in charge, but he's an associate pastor.
Joel ain't gonna put no Negro in charge. No, that's not gonna happen.
And he has his own huge church. So, I mean, between there, somebody should have said, all right, Johnny boy.
The the schematics or the look of this doesn't look
Yeah,
good.
this is not going to jive. You know, people are going to come for your head if you do this. And then so Alex, you also say, Al, I've seen that with my own eyes too in regards to them divvying up the funds or the offerings and tithes in front of the church. Like, yo, y'all coming up short up in here. We need more than the chicken dinners coming up in here.
Yeah. Have you noticed that the black community is saturated with churches within its community, even if it's a small community?
Yeah, there are a lot of, but I would say this too. Even in Hispanic communities, I see a lot of churches. But yeah, we do have a lot of churches. Hell, up the street from you, there's 2 churches
Yeah,
right
right
next
there,
door,
right
like
next to each
next
other.
door to each other.
Yeah.
So if you get tired of one, you just go
Go
to
to
the
the other,
other,
just walk to the
church
other.
hopping.
Yeah.
And then Jessica says, I'm on the same page as you all. I think Lamborghini is excessive when there are probably people who can't pay your lights. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's the cosmetics of it.
Or how about this? Let's reverse it. $200,000 for one truck. How many Corollas he could have given to his congregation to show, hey, I'm trying to help you single moms,
Okay, so
dads, whatever.
I want to ask you this, and think about this. And I'm going to ask you guys this too. What kind of truck should his wife, or what kind of car should his wife be driving then? What's acceptable?
F-150, just a standard
An
F-150.
F-150?
There you
So
go.
Donovan's saying that his wife should be driving an F-150 at tops? Best?
At tops.
Okay. I'm going to ask you why in a minute. Okay. And I'm going to ask you guys that to what should Pastor John's wife, who brought his wife a $200,000 Lamborghini, what should she be driving?
That's just money
So
thrown
just
away
think
to me.
about that.
That's money
And so
just thrown
Jessica,
away.
you're agreeing, say yes they do. That's what I'm saying. And Al says, hey Donovan, don't forget about Rev Sam, the happiness man. I knew one of y'all was gonna do it
Yes.
on Good Times
Yes.
episode when Flip Wilson paid
Yes.
money. You said $1, I think. Hungry Preacher Uptown Saturday night played rather. Money Hungry
That was
Preacher.
classic. We don't roll, we don't fight, but we're gonna score tonight. That was James's old Korean War.
I was about to
buddy.
say Flip Wilson
Yeah.
when he said loose Smith,
Yes.
sing
Yes.
ships, bubbly, or they talking about they got drunk, they was
Yeah.
drinking some bubbly or whatever. Lord,
Right.
y'all crazy. And Richard says, but you know what? Go to the Fairfax district, and you'll see quite a few synagogues. Yeah, I mean there's in just different neighborhoods
Community, yeah.
and communities, there are all kinds of this church that's just, you know, it saturates the community. I guess people need Jesus or whatever their faith is. And Jessica says, modest, whatever is modest, I think. So you're saying
Right.
something modest. Well, what if she's saying, well, a $200,000 Lamborghini is modest for me? Because I wanted, what's a car more expensive than that? Hell, I don't know. A Maybach, you know. And then Candy says, can he not use the money he got from the reality show he has? I mean, that's what I'm saying. If indeed that's where his money came from, why can't he buy his wife a $200,000 truck?
Okay, wait. I'm have to disagree with that because he would not be in this position if it wasn't for the church that he represents. So some of that money in any aspect that he does should go to the church.
Okay, let me ask y'all. Okay, hold on to that. Okay, so Tay says she can get a Buick Suburban, something nice, not flashy. Hold on, I'm asking you guys a question. And Richie says Model X, better car, less than half the price. So he's talking about a Tesla. I like those. And then Al says Toyota Tundra. And Tay says there are some nice cars that looks great but aren't over the top. Okay, all right. So, do you guys just have a problem because he's a pastor that's buying his wife that, or what? Like, what's the issue here?
I have a problem for the fact that he is a pastor, a man of God, and he's buying his wife an excessive thing. Because what I'm saying is, $200,000, the goodwill he would have done to bless other people in his church, that would have came back on it and would have been a better.
Okay, so let me play devil's advocate here. Michael Jordan, he is not a pastor.
No.
So
Absolutely.
let's get that out of the way. Michael Jordan is not a pastor.
Correct.
However, this man is raking money hand over fist
Right.
with, let's say, predominantly, or I don't say predominantly, but a lot, probably most black people buying Air Jordans or whatever the hell he's selling. I'm sure his wife ain't driving a Tundra,
No, his ex-wife took half his shit, but
but he's still got money.
right.
But the point, I'm making a point here. So the point that I'm making here is he doesn't, or he's starting to now, but overall the money he's collected, I don't see him giving a whole host of
because he
money.
doesn't have to. He's an individual business person,
Is the church not a business?
No, it's not.
It doesn't run like a business?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's not. Because, especially in the black community, it's not run like a business. Because if it was,
Y'all wrong.
because if it was, the pastor would not be involved in the finances. You have a CFO and all that other stuff. I've seen some successful churches that
Right.
run like a business. And that situation is totally wrong. Michael Jordan is a businessman. Even before he was a businessman, he was an athlete. So he's getting paid off the labor of what he does.
But
in
he
his
doesn't
endorsements.
give back as much as
Doesn't
he's
have to.
making either.
He doesn't have to.
I disagree with that, but me and Donovan always disagree.
Yes.
Okay, and so Marcus just says, honestly, it's been 60 plus years since the black church has been on the front line for black people, period.
Ooh,
Very
thank
few
you.
black churches are doing anything other than benefiting their church, period. And the fact that anyone can ask for admiration or respect for Donald Trump says everything. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm sure that's a
Get
little
that
bit.
brother's number in the email. with it.
That's Marcus.
Oh, Marcus.
Yeah.
The brother, dang.
Yeah, I think that speaks a lot too. I mean, you went tiptoeing into the White House when you know that, you know, black people and Trump ain't really cool like that. But you again tried to come out selling us Trump's talking points.
Well, I have a real example for you. I have a friend that just bought his lady a nice car, but the difference is this is money that he made on his individual merit. Not
John Gray is saying this is the money he
no,
made
he's
on
a
individual-
representative of the church.
So he's supposed to be a pauper.
No, I'm not saying he's supposed to be a pauper. Okay, it's like me being.
And listen again, I'm not trying to defend John
Yeah.
Gray, but I'm just trying to make sense of it because
Yeah, no.
because I want, like I said earlier, I just want to make sure that I can only make sure that I don't, but that is not just because a lot of people will say that's jealousy. He brought his, and I don't think you're operating from that.
No.
But
No, he's part of an organization. If you're part of an organization, you can't arbitrarily take money out of the organization because it's a conglomerate of people, right? Correct? A church is a conglomerate of people.
right.
To take $200,000 without the congregation's approval, and I don't know what the schematics are. I don't know.
But to Candy's point right here, he has many streams of income, though. It's not
Because
just
he's
from the
using a
church.
tax shelter, so he shouldn't do that.
But I'm sure with his own money that he's making
He
from
used-
the own.
He's a member of the
Okay.
church. He would not be where he was.
But do
if he
you
was
think
a-
that he's tying his money from own and the books in with the church's tax shelter?
Yes, because he has to
No, he
exempt
doesn't
it.
have to.
Yes, he does to exempt himself from the taxes. Yes, he does. Yes, that's
Look
how.
it up.
That's how Joel Osteen makes his money.
He sold all of his income. Because wait.
It's under the church banner.
Hold on one second, y'all. Me and Donovan, we finna come to a understanding.
I'm gonna tell you.
We finna come to understanding.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, because this just don't make sense.
Okay, go ahead.
On one hand, he's saying, and he and being John Osteen, or Joel Osteen, all these other people, right? They're saying, oh no, this money is separate from the church. Wait.
What?
This is separate from the church. This is not money that I'm getting from the church. It's my own money. So you think they're going to get on national television and admit that this money is not from the church and
Yes.
not pay taxes?
Yes.
How did it?
Yes, because what it
Help
is.
me out, y'all.
Yes.
Donovan's off the rails here.
Yes, they're going to do that. It's just like Donald Trump. Oh, I don't have to do. It's the same. It's the birds of a feather flock together, because you're not going to go and do the research, and that's what they hope and pray that you don't do.
Okay,
I can guarantee you, if you go and research it, he is under the umbrella
He ain't
of the,
paying no taxes.
no taxes.
Okay,
Exactly.
y'all, somebody please look that up for me and verify that Joel
I will
Osteen
verify
is not paying personal taxes
On his book
for
sales
his
and all
book
that other
sales
stuff.
and all that. Please,
Right.
because I don't believe that.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up for
Okay,
you right
so
now.
Jessica, I'm sorry, y'all. Jessica said, no, that's not fair. If he makes more money outside of the church off his book sales, he could be tithing to the church. Kardashians drive 45 cars, but then who is saying he doesn't bless people, which he says he does, in his church, and he said that. In fact, I said 2 weeks before the truck incident, it is said that he allowed people to come up to the tithing bucket or whatever and get money, grab money out.
Okay, look, listen, that's how it works.
Okay, but let me
If
get
you-
to these comments.
If you look at Joel Osteen's background, he uses the
Look
tax
it up,
shelter. I'm
brother.
going to look it up, but what I'm telling you is that's what they do. They keep everything under that umbrella.
I trust you,
Verify.
but I need
Trust
to
and
verify it, okay?
Gotcha.
And Richard says, I agree with Donovan in that he didn't have to be a showboat when he gave her the car. There was no need for that, absolutely. And I think that's really where the issue was. And then, but you know, he's also deleted the video.
Why would you do that if you're not doing anything wrong?
Well, probably because he was getting so much.
Why would you do that if you're not doing
I
anything
would
wrong?
have preferred him leave it up.
Right. Why would you do that?
Because we've
if you're
already
not?
seen it.
Just like I always ask President Donald Trump, if you weren't aware you were doing a crime or a crime was being taken care of, why are you working so hard to cover it up?
Well, I mean, hell.
Think about
And
it.
then Al says, on the Power X episode where Ghost's daughter was killed, the preacher wanted the service to be televised to bring more people attention to his church. Well, yeah, you know, we got to capitalize off of everything, right? And then Jessica says, a church is, and I'm going to emphasize, is a business.
It is. Yeah, it's a business, but it's not a business.
You see how you do, Jessica?
No, it is a business, but it's not a business. Because,
Okay.
because if it was a business, it would be paying its fair share of taxes. You can't
Is a
call it a
nonprofit
business.
organization not a business?
It is,
Is a
but
church under the nonprofit
it
organization that
is.
doesn't?
But again, separation of church and state. It's a business per se. Let's agree with that. Per se.
Okay, let me get to these comments because me and you going to fight
All
after
right.
this.
Per se, it's a business.
Roll out the Mac.
No, I don't think I would like that. Because I choke you out.
I got my little pew-pew in my purse, okay? I don't need to fight with you. And let's see. And Candy says, I'm pretty sure it's going to air on the show. So, yes, for promoting, I can see why they possibly was showing out. Yeah, I mean, it's using. Like the Kardashians. Somebody made a point about the Kardashians. Let's use everything we're going through, you know, to capitalize on it. Alex said he should have known that black stereotype would have followed that expensive purchase. And the pastor is a pimp because he's selling something that is free. You know what, Alex? You are so wise to be such a young man because my dad always says that. Pastors sell positive energy, right? It's all about the prosperity ministry. And Chris, she says, a nice luxury truck is going to run 60 to 70,000. I'll give him $65,000. Whatever he can get for 65. But anything over that is excessive. You can't find an SUV more expensive than the Lamborghini. You said you can't find an SUV more expensive than the Lamborghini. Let's see. I have an issue with him amassing that kind of wealth by being the leader of a church. He is literally making money off the backs of his congregation, and that is completely inappropriate and unacceptable. Well, I concede that point, but some people will say, well, he's got an audience on OWN. You know, Oprah's huge, and so maybe he's getting money from that. Maybe it's not just the congregation that's buying books. And again, I'm not trying to defend him, but I'm just trying to make sense of why he can't buy his wife that kind of a car if indeed that is coming from his pocket. But I agree. I mean, just from a cosmetic point of view, it's like that looks bad, you know. And Al says, who cares about Michael Jordan? He left Juanita for ugly, you know, a white woman. I'm getting my black power shit on today. You go, boy. Candy says, Joel don't have a reality show though. He's been on. He has been on the OWN network having his own show. So I don't know if he has a reality show, but he has been on the OWN network with his own show. And Tay says, I guess I hold pastors to a higher standard, which you should, because that Bible tells you to a higher standard than I would a sports figure or actor. The pastor should reflect his congregation and not flaunt wealth and opulence. That's vanity. I agree with that. Hey, Nancy. She says also to hit the link if you want to comment. And Al says, Jabba the Hutt never should have bragged about the shit. You calling that man Jabba the Hutt, really? That's awful. And Tay says, what made it worse is that the wife had the audacity to clap back on social media. Yeah, that right there, because I read that earlier, that she did clap back, basically saying it's a husband buying his wife a truck, blah, 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 he works hard and all. That was a bit much, because it's almost like saying, I'm not saying you should be sorry that your husband brought you the truck, but you should be contrite that it came off bad. And some people were offended. Like, I mean, you're not going to please everybody, but...
And she doesn't have sense enough to say, honey, this is a bit much.
Or we don't have to advertise you
Right.
doing that. Because I would have said, honey, it's nice, but everybody don't need to know you did this, because I can foresee what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be walking this back for a week or two. And so... hey, Thomas, hello. And Al says, no more comments. We can just sit here and watch y'all debate for the next hour. No, y'all don't want to do that. And Chris says, Demetra, how does he separate the money he makes from the church and the money he makes from the book?
Exactly.
And
That's the
which
scam.
he got, wait, hold on.
That's the scam.
Which he got and wrote based on his connection with the church. I contend that it is commingled money and income and cannot be separated, sort of fruit from the forbidden tree, if you will.
Right.
I mean, I get that. I'm not, listen, I just want to know how they can admit, like with Pastor John Gray, he's worth $7 million. $7 somewhere that money is getting taxed. He can't hide his personal business within.
Just because he says he's worth the $7 million.
Okay, but obviously the government is going to verify that is what you're making, and they're going to tax that. I mean,
Right,
because
exactly.
and we know that a lot of these pastors at these mega churches, they make a lot of money. I mean,
And
some
they
of them,
hide a lot of their money.
some of them have. I did a research on a pastor somewhere in North Carolina. I don't know what's wrong in North Carolina, but this pastor, the white dude, had this house is so humongous. It's just him, his wife, and two little
Did you see
kids.
Joel Osteen's mansion that he could have housed?
Yeah, but I'm saying the point is, he also said, "Oh, well, this money is separate from the church. This is money that I earned from speaking and all
Right.
this other stuff." And so,
And then when you do an audit, you find out that that's not true.
and then Al says these black preachers always talk more about prosperity than compassion. Well, that's what it is. It's prosperity preaching now. But it's like, okay, you're talking about prosperity. Y'all got it when we gonna get it, you know? And then Marcus says, well, you did leave it at one thing. They do have that annual pastor anniversary where they give the pastor all the money for being the pastor, period. And everybody gets dressed up to celebrate the pastor getting more money. A lot of churches will do it once a month where they have what they call a love offering, where they sow a seed of love to the pastor and his wife every month. So if there's the love offering and then, like you said, the annual celebration, I mean, I'm just asking what else is needed, you know, just me asking. And Tay says Joel Osteen was producing his own reality show in 2011. So yeah, he did have one. He also said with the dude that created Survivor, it was going to be at behind the scenes of Lakewood Church. Okay. And then Dwight, hey, he said Donovan is 100% right. Clergy should not do that. And I think you're saying mix the money together.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm saying.
That's how they get away with it. It's a catch-22 in the tax shelter scam. They intermingle their money, and the government can't decipher what's what. Because remember that there's a video on YouTube. Remember that pastor? And they were asking him, "What about the mink coat?
Oh, that.
What about this?"
Yeah, the bald-headed.
Yeah, and he was like, "Huh?
When he
What?"
he had a $600,000
Right.
$6,000 clothing
Right.
allowance a month or
Right.
something.
That was a gift. That was it.
I actually taught a lecture on that one.
Right.
Yeah.
See, so that's
Uh-huh.
how they do it.
And then let's see. And Al says, you know how it is in the black church. No matter people do just what they do, just pray for him. Oh, I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
We make excuses. Doesn't matter what he does. Let's just go ahead and pray for them. Somebody's calling me. It's my sister-in-law. I rejected her call. Okay, and then so the white says separate church and state. It is allowed in our Constitution. Yeah. But I'm saying if you're a pastor and you're professing that, oh, this money didn't come from the church. I make all this money.
Yeah, not true.
From my speaking gigs. I'm sure the government is like, yeah, let us see that tax return.
Right, exactly.
From those gigs.
And this is what I'm saying. I'm not mad at him. Who wouldn't use that as a tax shelter? I know I would.
Right.
I'd intermingle my finances with the church to where it can't be tracked.
Right.
Did Donald Trump say that? Because I'm smart.
Well, and
I don't pay
he
taxes
was
because I'm
even
smart.
trying to do away with that aspect as regarding the church in their income. And I hope I'm saying this right. Delicia, did I say that right? He says, laugh out loud. One thing that wifey won't be walking back is that car. Laugh out loud. She's holding on to that. That's why she clapped back. Yeah, okay. Now we know she ain't gonna take the car back. Lamborghini. It was a nice ride, but people are mad. Yeah, I mean, I think she should have just, you know.
Well, the sad thing is,
She should have just kept that to herself.
yeah, the sad thing is that they're just doing it right in our faces. I mean, we are on the precipice of another recession. How are you going to justify that to your congregation?
I don't know. And then Lydia, he says another church ratchet gossiping about people as usual. Also, he says, I can smell the ratchet pride coming from her. And I'm assuming you're talking about Aventur. I think that's her name, Aventur Gray. Yeah, to me, that was just a bad look. Like, why you... Like, just sometimes you just got to be humble and say, I understand. I understand why people are mad. Mm-hmm. My husband gave me this elaborate truck in front of everybody, and people are mad, and rightfully so to some degree. But let me just be quiet. I don't need to rub salt into the wound, like, take that. And then at the end, she says, and now back to my regularly scheduled grocery shopping trip.
Ghetto. But a good example, it's like Oprah. Do you want to know why she gave gifts out on her show? You want to know why?
Oh, yeah, it's a tax break.
It's a tax write-off.
Yeah, we know that.
But look at the goodwill for her doing that
Well,
By
again,
whom?
they say, they being his wife and other people say that he is philanthropic and that he gives back.
But you can't give money that is in the group that's under the church. You can't just give money out like
Well, I would rather you do that opposed
Yeah.
to taking it and tricking it off to yourself.
Right, true.
And then Dwight says Donald Trump is a businessman. He's
Failed
is
businessman.
allowed to gain profit. Don't get
Right.
Donovan started on
Failed
Donald Trump.
businessman.
And Al says maybe because black preachers and Christianity is BS, which is probably why there are no more reality preacher shows. Thank God. I mean, not yet. You know, you probably spoke too soon. And Lydia says, know about you. Oh, well, Lydia says that she called me a gossiping ratchet about church. Well, I would say this to you, Lydia, because I normally don't like to entertain the trolls, but for one thing, I don't even go to church, but I'll tell you one thing, I got 2 degrees from a Christian college, a bachelor's and a master's, plus I have spent a copious amount of time in the Nation of Islam and a copious amount of time in the Christian church, so if anybody can say anything about church, it's probably me. And so before you come on here calling people names, I suggest you get a little bit more information, and that is the last time I will address you and your low self-esteem. Now, if you want to come on here and have an intelligent dialogue, I am going to do that with you, but if you're not, then tell your ass.
There it is.
So, and then let's say, the White says, Donovan Strong. We're
We're
still waiting for him to come up with an interview, and the White also
No, I
says,
have an interview.
okay, hold on a second. And then the White says Oprah is a great woman. I like Oprah.
Yeah, I like her.
I don't have it.
But nobody gives up their, Bill Cosby, they don't give up their money because they want to. The government's going to take it. And it is,
I mean,
again,
some people do give
no,
give
and
money
that's
away.
true.
Right.
Very true. But again, if I was a 503c under the church, which is a catch-22,
Mhm.
I would intermingle my money. And and that's what I'm saying. If he's going to intermingle his money, I would not be buying $200,000 trucks
Right.
when it's part of the community's money.
Right. And then Al says, good news, Donovan. Someone we know had a new addition to their family and thankfully didn't give the baby some stupid ghetto name. Oh, Khalid they had their baby.
Oh, they did?
That's a little cute little girl.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
All
very
right.
cute. Named Lily. She's very cute.
Oh, I got a girl. Oh, look, Lord was not kind to him.
She's cute. Really small, but she's cute. And the
Yeah.
White says, not yet. And the White says, you are perfect. I'm not sure who you're referring to, but
Me.
I'm
That was me.
referring to
That was
Donovan.
me.
You're perfect.
Yeah, that was
You
me.
know that he's perfect. So I don't see any more comments. But yeah, you know, I just think honestly, and this is the point of the show. If you guys have any questions or concerns that you want to address, please feel free to comment, and we'll answer those questions. And so you also say, Dwight, billions are allowed to do billions are allowed to do that. Bill Cosby was a philanthropist, and that he was.
Yes, he was.
I don't care what nobody says about Bill Cosby. That man gave away. They said to the tune of, I don't know, millions. I can't count, like 50, 60, like millions of dollars. He gave away, obviously, for scholarships and
Now,
all that
don't get me
stuff.
wrong. A small part of that was a tax write-off.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So.
You know what I'm saying? Of course.
But that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between a business person and a church tax shelter.
Right.
And that's what a lot of these preachers use the
Right.
church for.
And Delicia, you said, Donovan, that's exactly the point. These new age pastors don't care. They aren't interested in what people think. They are doing them. People here in Baltimore are upset about Jamal Bryant. It's funny, me and somebody else was talking about that earlier, about Jamal Bryant leaving to go to Atlanta, but that is his doing. He wants that Eddie Long congregation money. Bye Baltimore.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to your point, Jamal Bryant has been caught up in a lot of, scandal and, just a whole host of
Controversy
things.
sells. Huh?
Right, but people are still riding with him, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but to her point, I mean, he's going where the money is.
Exactly. For those that are interested, there was an article in the Houston Chronicle, the very hometown church that Joel Osteen's church is. It's called The Preacher's Son. You can look it up on YouTube. It was given out May 31st, 2018, so this year.
And who's this?
This is the Houston Chronicle.
Okay, got it.
It's called The Preacher's Son, and it's Joel
Joel
Osteen
Osteen, right.
and the making of a mega church. And
Right.
it tells you exactly how he
Yeah,
made his
and
money.
like I said, he has, co-opted, I guess you will, with Oprah and the OWN network and stuff like that. So, I mean, he has done a whole bunch of television stuff. And let's see, and the White says, the lady response from Lydia, oh, you are perfect. Oh, well, thank you. I try not
I think
to.
that was meant for me.
Oh, you think
Yeah.
she calling you a ratchet? Donovan can be ratchet sometimes. I appreciate that. And Marcus says, and we can't equate the church with Michael Jordan or Oprah Winfrey, period. Michael Jordan made a living off of basketball
Right.
with his feet and his hands, and
Exactly.
Oprah made a living off of conversation with her mouth and a microphone. The church was not designed to do either for the pastor, plain and simple.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I understand you guys right, you guys are pretty much saying that if you go into that field as a pastor,
It's
then
not to make money.
you should be humble.
Yes.
You should be humble. Because, like I said, I've lectured on this once before, the church. There used to be a time when the church parsonage, which is where the pastor lived, was right next door to the church. And that was if, somebody needed help. Immediately, you didn't have to drive off into the hills. And as you said, Summers and the armor bearer to try to reach these people. And they lived humbly.
Yeah.
And, they also had jobs. They help sustain the windfall, if you will. And Al says, hey, Lydia, don't be mad because you gave your money to the black church and then got screwed all at the same time.
Wow. Adult conversation here. We're having adult conversation.
I don't know what Lydia's malfunction is. It's always going to be one, right? But, again, and I'm going to assume that Lydia is a church.
Yeah, she's probably just.
She probably goes to the
offended,
church, but this is the other thing. And I say this a lot. You will always, and my brother who goes to church, he's a heathen to me, but he goes to church.
Who, Smitty?
No, Walter.
Oh, Walter, okay.
Walter says this. He said he's heard this, and I've lived by this. He says a lot of people don't go to church for two reasons. Or they don't go to church, or they're not a Christian for two reasons. One is because they know a Christian, probably like Lydia, and the other is because they don't know a Christian who was actually walking the word. And so if Lydia is one of those people who go to church, why would you come on here and be offensive? Does the Bible ask you not to offend? Does the Bible also ask you to, I'm just saying, what does the Bible say? Above all else, the most important thing is what? Love.
Love.
And so when you come on my show or anybody's show and call people names like a ratchet, hell, sometimes it can be. I'm not saying I'm not. But when you come on somebody's show and call them a name, that's not operating from love. But then out of your same mouth, what the Lord asks you not to do is to be, the Lord says, do not be lukewarm because I will spit you out of my mouth like vomit. And so when you come on here and out of your mouth profess to be a Christian and then do things of the devil, you are lukewarm, and the Lord warns you against being lukewarm. And so, Lydia, when you come on here, I'm not sure if you're still watching.
No, she probably gone.
But when you come on here and do that, you are not a testimony of what a Christian should be. And I'm not one, and I know more than you.
Wait, stop right there. Do you hear the cricket?
I'm
That's
just
Lydia.
saying.
That's Lydia. No.
No,
that's Lydia.
But I'm saying, but those would be the ones who will get on Facebook all day long and they'll post scriptures all day long with Lord this and y'all this and y'all need to give God the time. You know what? I didn't say Lydia was dancing at the nasty kitty. You did.
You're right.
But I'm saying those would be the ones that admonish everybody else for not walking in the Lord, and then it's like, we'll watch what you do.
But didn't Jesus Christ himself say that these pastors will be held accountable?
Pastors and people such as, I'm assuming Lydia, it goes to church, she's a parishioner to some degree, but those people will be held to a higher standard because it is like, what if Lydia, what if I was thinking about going back to church and right at that very moment, you swayed me from wanting to partake because I'm like, well, gosh, if that's how Christians act, I don't want to be a part of that. What if?
Exactly.
So we're going to leave Lydia alone. I just wanted to give her that because whatever church she's going to, they're obviously not teaching her the word. They're teaching her to be mean and catty.
No, they're teaching her what most black churches and churches are teaching people. Give up your money. Don't worry about anything else. Just give up your money.
Oh, got it.
Give up your money. That's what they're teaching.
And let's see, and the wife says church is good for people that believe in that ideology. And there's nothing wrong in having a good belief system and believing in something good. But God says, be doers of the word, not just hearers of the word. So if God is asking you to be good and do good things, do that. Don't just be in church every Sunday with your nice outfit on, man, and then you get out of the church and call people names. You know.
I got a question.
Wait, hold on a second. And I click the link, you guys, if you want to comment on the show. Go ahead.
Here's my question. And this is for anybody out there listening. If you ever invested in something, if you invest, aren't you supposed to check on your investment every now and then to make sure it's growing and stuff like that? So if a pastor is spending money like that, do I not have a right to question where that money's coming from and why is he spending money?
Yeah, you do. But a lot of times people are scared. Oh my God, lightning's going to strike me if I ask the Lord, or the pastor, where my money is going. Okay. And Delisha said exactly, hypocritical thinking. Yeah, and then Marcus says, I disagree with Dwight. The church is not good for people who believe in this ideology, period. In fact, the church is a hindrance to black people right now because it teaches you to pray. It teaches you to pray for the prayers that God has already answered, period, instead of using the tools that God gave you to help yourself. And I would agree with that as well. I think for a lot of people, they need something to believe in. But as the late, great, not Yo Ike, but Reverend Ike.
From the 70s. Yes.
Reverend Ike said, how are you going to believe in a God in the sky and you don't even believe in yourself? How you going to believe in somebody you've never seen, but you don't believe in yourself? That's an oxymoron. And for those of you who follow the Bible, it says that you are like God, so that makes you a what? A God. So Kay says, check her profile. She's in a group dedicated to Cardi B and Nicki Minaj.
Oh, wow.
Enough said. And ask Jack joking today, what do you call it when two coconuts get in a car accident? Pina colada. And Dwight says, Marcus, you are right. I just see it that way.
Yeah.
He also says, Dwight, yes, you are right. He is a vessel. Absolutely. And Al says, why do Christians always tell people like me who is not, you're going to hell and go to church and give the Lord some of your time? Because that's what they've been taught. I know, especially Al, he hates when I say this. He hates the saying, when you know better, you do better. But it's true. As I was studying, somebody must be trying to call me or something. As I was studying church and the Bible and things like that, and just other things, so I study outside of the Bible too. There's a book I read called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Outwitting the Devil. You guys can watch that book. Am I freezing up a little bit here? You guys can watch that. You can listen to the audio book on YouTube called Outwitting the Devil. It's kind of long. But it talks about, it's my sister-in-law, she's desperately trying to get a hold of me. But it's, in one part of the book, it says you can't operate out of fear and faith at the same time. It's hard to do.
Correct.
So when you go to church, church tells you to exercise what? Or operate out of what? Faith. Tells you to operate out of faith, but what is it constantly doing when you're sitting there? If you don't do this, it's instilling fear. You're going to hell if you don't come to church. You're going to hell if you don't.
If you don't come out with 20s.
You know what?
We want the kind that folds, not the kind that rolls. Okay?
So the church teaches faith and fear. And they teach that to children, and we as parents too. We teach that to our children from a very young age. And so when we get to become adults, we're confused. Because part of me wants to have faith, but I can't because I've been having fear instilled in me the whole time I've been sitting there. And I'm not doing stuff in the church because I want to necessarily. I'm doing it because if I don't, something's going to happen to me. Because that's what it's been taught to me. Be obedient. If you don't
ask questions.
Right, then something's going to. So you can't do both. You can't operate out of fear and faith. You have to exercise one thing. And so to Al's point, people have constantly told him that he's going, and a lot of us have heard that. You're going to hell, you need to give the Lord your time. Well, do I need to give the Lord my time in front of you? Can I do that at home? As most Christians will say, I have a prayer closet. And you're supposed to, maybe not literally a prayer closet, but you have supposed to go to a place and spend some time with the Lord. The Bible also tells you guys, or tells us, if you read it, to pray without ceasing, which means to pray all the time. And it also says that I'm supposed to have a relationship with God. It doesn't say that it's your business of what relationship I have with God. And so for people to tell you that, the Bible also, see, now y'all got me preaching.
I was about to go there and say, oh, wow.
But I'm saying it also says to worry about the splinter in your eye. I mean, the log in your eye, and not the splinter in mine. So basically, as it says in 1 Thessalonians 4:11, you know, study to be quiet. Mind your business and work with your hands as you've been instructed to do. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about my walk with God. Worry about what your walk with God. So anybody who's telling you that, Al, you're going to hell and all this other stuff, tell them to worry about the log in their eye.
No, what you need to tell them is, yeah, I'm going to hell, and all my friends are going to be there.
Right, I hope to see you there.
Right.
Hey, used to know what's happening. He says, blacks will continue to hope and pray and follow and continue to die, suffer, and commit genocide as long as they choose to follow a religion that was based on the blood of others.
Yes.
Absolutely. I mean, I hate to say it, and like I said, I spent a lot of time in church, but I really believe to some degree, in a large degree, Christianity has hindered black people because we have...
It is not our natural religion.
It's not our natural religion, for one, but we have been taught to let go and let God. Jesus
No matter how much hell
out.
you take here, when you get to heaven, I got a question for you.
But I'm saying, but it also to some degree absolves us of doing the work.
I got a question for you. How do you know by the time we get to heaven, we might be slaves up there? Do you know that God has... No, seriously. God has angels that all they do all day is worship Him.
So
And
you know
bow
what?
down.
If you go, you make it, you definitely going to be an angel, a slave angel. You definitely going to be one. You're going to be raking the coals.
Hey, and I'll do it happily for the Lord.
Who's texting me? And then Al says, ask D&D.
Ask D&D. Let's get it.
Okay, somebody text me a message. I told these boss stop texting
You
me.
are very popular.
Golly. And Al says, as D&D, is David Pecker and Anthony Weiner related? How the hell am I supposed to?
He's making a correlation, Pecker and...
I get it. I'm trying to ignore Al. But, so I don't see any more comments. So you guys, if you want to talk about something that's a little bit off the topic here, we can.
I have a question.
Okay, let me get this last one. To get them off my back, I let them believe I'm an atheist. Lord, that's a whole other topic.
Whole
you tell somebody you don't believe in God. I mean, you don't go to church, but you're an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
You don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many times I've had people ask me that when I say that I don't go to church? Well, what, you don't believe in God? Are you an atheist? Okay, hold on a second.
Do you guys want to hear
One second, you guys. Go ahead, Donovan.
Yeah, you guys want to hear an enigma? World War I, World War II, people are killing each other, and it was Christians killing Christians. How much of an enigma is that?
Hold on one second. Ask that again.
World War I, World War II, and all these wars, Christians killing Christians. How much of an enigma is that? Both sides are Christians. Every military has a chaplain in it, and they're both saying, God bless you, go out there and kill the enemy. And we're killing each other.
Right.
So religion is
okay, so hopefully they'll stop texting me. Golly. And he says, so hey, Brian, what's happening? He says, what's up to you? Okay, ask me your question again.
Okay, my question is, do you think that the Offset Cardi B thing, him coming out, was that a setup or was that real? What is your opinion on that? Now that we've got your attention.
I mean, I don't... That Cardi B and Offset.
Who cares?
Cardi B and Offset. I don't really have an opinion on Cardi B and Offset. I've asked these people to stop texting me because my phone is freezing and they keep texting me.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second.
But my question was to get people's attention. It's like, who really cares? Who really cares about that stuff?
I told her, please stop. Okay, so, I mean, I don't know, Cardi B and...
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares? And then so, Demir, I hope I said that, Demire rather, he said,
Right.
how do you believe in a concept that was forced on our people? Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily say I believe that. I'm just saying that I've spent a lot of time in church, and so I understand it. And that's the thing, too. A lot of us won't understand something, even something that we don't agree with. We won't take the time to understand it. If you don't understand it, how can you refute it?
Right.
How can you refute something you do not understand? That's hard to do.
Right.
Otherwise, you just be having a lot of back and forth. Yes, I am. No, I don't. Yes, I am. No, I don't. Well, you know, as my father always says, people, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, to me, that's really the long and short of it.
You know, it's kind of funny to bring that up because a lot of people will say, like, well, I can't join no white man's military, right? They'll say,
Right.
why would you join that? Well, number one, I was born into it. Number two,
Right.
you know, it has some benefits for it now. Number three, now that I'm retired, they're giving me a whole boatload of money.
Right.
So, you know, because I know about it. If you don't know about it, and Uncle Otis from Vietnam is telling you, oh yeah, they screwed me over, you're getting, you know, false information. So you're
Right.
not getting information that you know.
Right. Okay. And so Al says, give us a financial tip when it comes to taking a vacation. And that's something that I actually haven't taken in a long time with a
Yes, that's good.
vacation.
You haven't gone on vacation in like 4 years.
Make sure it's a vacation that you can afford, and that you're not going to come back and stress about the vacation that you paid for.
Right. Well, I got a even better tip, because you know I'm a travel person. I'm very seasoned. Stop going to places that you can see right here in your own neighborhood. Going to the Caribbean is not a vacation. Go someplace where you can learn how other people are doing. It's a different culture, so you can learn something.
Well, I mean, to some people, they haven't been anywhere, so going to the Caribbean is something.
Well, yeah, no, I understand. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to go on vacation, go somewhere where you can learn something totally different.
Right. And then let's see. Brian, you said, I believe there's an emerging demographic of people who are not attending church, me being one of them. No, there's a lot of people who are just abstaining from church because they're like, why go? I'm giving all this money to the church and I'm not seeing anything
in return.
And I would say this to you guys, and I'm not trying to put nobody's church on blast, but I've been to churches where there's more drama in the church than there is probably at any nightclub or any social media Facebook group. There's so much drama, cattiness, just the most in there.
Well,
the environment is so toxic.
Yes, I'm going to say this, though. The Catholic Church got all the churches beat because it's football season and 45 minutes and we are out of there. Jesus was wonderful. Bye. See you next week. We're done.
Hide your little boy.
We got a few problems.
And then you also say, Brian, I can, let's see, something $35,000 to $40,000. I can spend $35,000 to $40,000 on a car, but a $200,000 Lambo, that's excessive. Well,
I mean, think about it. If he would have got his wife, let's say, a Mercedes, I don't think I would have a problem with that.
right. And then DeMeyer, I hope I'm saying it right, says, I'm from a Baptist upbringing and my mother's a minister. Okay. So I'm from...
I don't believe
I have the two worlds. I was born into the Nation of Islam when my father and my mother divorced. I became a Christian roughly around the age of 10-ish or so. I'm no longer either, but I understand both.
Right.
And so Alice says, it must be some church people texting you, right? The devil is busy. I rebuke it.
Yeah. Personally, for myself, I don't attend any church that has women leadership. I just don't.
And Donovan doesn't believe in woman leadership at a church.
In the church.
In the church.
In the church. I'm not saying women want to go to churches that have women pastors. That's great. I'm talking as a man. I can't go to that church.
Right. Okay.
Personally.
All right. Well, that's Donovan.
Yeah.
So I don't see. And then and Brian says right, and Demaria says the church building fund. Yeah. Yeah. But the church building fund, the love offering, you have tithes and offerings every Sunday. What else is it? The
benevolent fund.
The benevolent fund is a whole, which is always for whatever reason empty.
Yes.
Sister so and so, we would love to help you with your light bill, but right now the benevolent fund is running a little low.
Running a little low there.
Right, and so plus the copious amount of Sunday dinners that are sold, and so it does make you wonder
where's the money
going if we're continuously tithing. And a lot of people who go to the church have good jobs, and so if you're tithing 10% of your income, let's say you're making $10,000, hell, that's $1,000 just right off the rip that you're supposed to be giving to the church in addition to offerings. The offerings is something like a sacrifice. I'm giving something other than my tithe that I'm supposed to give.
Right.
So if I'm doing that, I'm like, well, where is the money going? Why are we getting the lights shut off?
Well, ask yourself this. If your pastor doesn't even live in the neighborhood where the church is, that tells you a lot right there.
Right. And then so Allie says, I'm watching, here we go again, the Rams home game, and y'all must be paying your tithes with her weather in California is perfect. Yes, the weather is nice here. It's about 75 degrees.
Yeah.
And Marcus says, what real purpose does the black serve in the black serve in the African American community right now? Okay, what is the benefit? So you're saying that the black church serves? Well, I mean, I'm assuming
at this point.
I mean, on the premise it's supposed to be helping people spiritually. That's on the premise, and to become a better servant of Christ and that kind of stuff. But I mean, a lot of people who are coming out of the black church, they don't I mean, especially since we're talking about, most churches are talking about prosperity.
Prosperity preaching.
Prosperity preaching. Well, why haven't I seen the trickle down? Because to me, I feel like if we're all giving this money, how about we share the wealth?
Well, for those that
Give me some.
yeah, for those that don't know, trickle down economics does work. I know we tried it for the last 40 years under the Reagan was one to do it. The problem with trickle down economics is once the rich people get it,
That's what I'm saying.
they
It
don't.
stops
They,
trickling.
yeah, they won't bring
Right.
it down. That's the problem.
And then the Myron says all church is a hustle.
Yes.
Well, some would agree with you. I wouldn't say all churches
No,
are a hustle.
I would say now it is. More
Except
so.
for Donovan's Catholic Church.
No, that's a hustle too. Like I said, that's the only church that's recognized by government.
And then Marcus says, what real people does the church serve in the black community right now? Does it benefit us or does it hurt? Oops. Or does it hurt us in the advancement of black people? Well, I would, if I had to just say right now, I would say that it's hurt us because it robs us of our own abilities to go out there and do for self.
Disarms us.
I just couldn't be Sister So-and-so in the church who was catching the bus, because y'all remember back in the day, churches would have a bus that would come through the neighborhood and pick people up. Some of them still do, but overall they would do that. But Sister So-and-so is catching the bus.
But you want to know why they stopped that?
Why?
When Johnson signed that act to give Section 8, things like that? No, that's one of the reasons, because people weren't working. There was no incentive to work. They were giving them
But I'm saying, what they
vouchers
got to do with the bus coming to pick the neighborhood,
Well,
picking up people?
Because people weren't working. There was nowhere to go.
Well, I'm going to church on Sunday. Can you come get me like you used to do?
Yeah, no, they stopped all that.
Oh. And then, let's see. Houston says, I hate to say, I see why we were slaves for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
We as a race continue to be gullible, cowards, only a threat to our own kind and poisonous to the structure of the revolution. Yeah, I mean, and you think about that too, in the large scheme of black churches, how many of those black churches in leadership spend time in what you call the revolution or trying to help liberate black people? Yeah, because I can understand, all right, yeah, you want to liberate black people from the devil, but what about liberating black people from the devil?
Right.
Oppression. What are you doing in that? Let me get this time. Timothy says, no one is going to give you the education you need to overthrow them. Nobody is going to teach you your true history, teach you your true heroes. If they know that knowledge will help set you free, you must do it yourself. Absolutely. It's not going to be given to you. Some of it will, but even that knowledge, you got to research yourself.
Right. My question is this. Why is it that every time a pastor gives you his background, he's either a street urchin? He basically took a street
urchin.
He basically took a street hustle and crossed it over into something legal, in a legal aspect. I'm not saying all of them, but I have yet to run across a pastor that said, I was a millionaire, billionaire, and I gave it up.
I just wanted to do
right.
this as my calling.
Yeah, I have yet to run across. Well, Pastor Don is kind of on that bridge. He was brought down a little bit, but I don't go to his church. But what I'm saying is, as a member, I've never seen that.
So that's what he told you.
No. I did some research on that. He lost a lot.
And Al says, when God said, let there be light, does that mean he doesn't like dark-skinned people? You know what you mean. Ignorant. So anyway, any more questions?
Answer that question.
Answer the Cardi B question?
Yeah.
What do I think about Cardi B and Offset? Well, I mean, the people want to know. I think if Offset has spent time cheating on Cardi B, which it sounds like he has, and now he's contrite and sorry, for lack of better words, that he messed up her life and did her dirty. I think it's jacked up on his behalf that he has done this to her, and she knew who he was before they got married. But he knew he wasn't genuine when he hopped over the broom with this girl. And so you continue to cheat on her and do all this other stuff, and now, because there's a saying the old people say, you never miss your water until it's gone. Now that his water is gone, now he's sorry. He's busting on stages and going on Instagram, making all these notes, but it's like, you know what? That's out of the player's handbook. Yeah, let me get her back and
make her again.
Yeah, let me make her believe I'm gonna be nice to her and be good to her, and then I just go back to what I was doing. I say, if I had to give advice to Cardi B, let that just be your daughter's father and go live your life.
You can't turn a hoe into a housewife.
And then Timothy, I'm with you. He says nothing. Who cares?
Right.
Okay. And then Houston says we as blacks will continue to be forced on the good ship Jesus. Yeah. Which was said to be one of the slave ships that were the first slave ship, if I'm not mistaken, to bring us over here through the middle passage. And so, to Houston's point, we will continuously be on that ship.
Yeah.
And let's see. And Payne says, oh, please, he's full of S. Cheating is a choice he wasn't forced. No, absolutely. He wasn't forced. And so, and Timothy's conceding the point, good ship Jesus indeed. And so, we are right at 4:30. And so I will, and then Demaya says, on that subject, we teach people how to treat us. She knew him for who he was. Why complain after the fact? No, I totally agree with you on that. She already knew who he was. And so now you know fat meat is greasy, you're surprised. So that's all I really have to say about that. Those are rich people problems. They got money. They gonna be all right.
I don't think they're rich.
I'm more concerned about Leroy and Betty Joe down the street. You know.
Can't your lights are not.
Yeah, lights getting cut.
Christmas
You're right,
short.
and all that other stuff. Cardi B and them gonna be all right. She can go make her a man if she wants to. So, but anyway, I don't see any more of you guys' comments. As always, I thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Donovan Sadiq for making this all happen. Also, a big, huge thank you to Marcus Guyton for spreading the message so that we can have this dialogue with you and just try to understand how we can become better. As always, too, if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, please inbox me or send me a message, Donovan a message, Marcus a message even.
Next week is Christmas, right?
Next week is the week before Christmas. So the 23rd, I don't see why, unless you're busy, we won't be here. I don't celebrate Christmas, so.
I don't either.
You lying. I'm just playing. You got 20 Christmas trees up in the house. So if you guys want to talk about something, and then Timothy in closing, you says exactly so. If that was the first ship, why are we still following Christianity or Islam? Well, those are good questions. Why? And
because
so,
we have leaders that don't want to lead. They rather enrich themselves.
Well, we got to find our stuff for ourselves too, right?
Sure.
And so I will see you guys next week. You have a great rest of the week, productive rest of the week. And yeah, peace.
Yeah, come in.
Damn, who died? You got enough flies in here for a funeral, ain't you?
How'd you get in here, Ike? What do you want, huh?
Hey, it's a big night for Little Anna Mae. I come to see the show, just like everybody else.
How'd you get past security?
Oh, come on now. You know me better than that. Now, look here, I told you it wasn't over. I told you you was gonna see me again. Here I am, big and bold as shit. You ain't believe me. Thought you was gonna get away from me. Thought a nigga like me was gonna let you get away from me. You can't get away from me, and I'm in here.